Hey everyone, and welcome to the first pilot episode, I guess you'd call it, of All the Way with TJ. And today's episode, I just really kind of want to talk about who I am and kind of where I want this podcast to go and the direction that I want to take it in. So, a little bit about me. I grew up poor, and I mean really poor, in rural Arkansas. No dad in the home, and we lived on government assistance. Not very good times. Would not want to go back to that, and I don't like these programs as they currently are. Uh, Politics, when I was a kid, was just shady and out of focus. I don't really know a whole lot about where my mom was, politically speaking. I would say most likely liberal or Democrat voter, just based on the fact that, they were the ones giving away the free government programs. And I know most of my family would have been what you would consider blue dog Democrats, so to speak. They would have voted for Kennedy. They had liberal ideas that are today considered mostly conservative, which is kind of weird, but that's just where we are on the political spectrum, I guess. I didn't really care about politics. All I knew is that we were poor, and once I got out of high school, college was not going to be a thing. I was just going to go get a job. I was going to start working and get myself out of poverty. And that's what we did. Or at least that's what I did. Some of my brothers didn't follow suit, but that's on them. Married with 3 children, ages 15, 11, and 2.5. And part of me doesn't see how people live the way they do in perpetual poverty. But alas, that wasn't me. I wasn't going to do it, and I made the choice to follow the American dream, get up off my ass and go do something. And that's what I wanted to do with my life, and that's what I did. A little bit about where I want this podcast to go is I like discussing big ideas. I like talking about things that matter, things that don't divide us, or shouldn't divide us, I should say. Scientific things, religion, philosophy, politics, the writings of great thinkers. Some of my most favorites are Carl Jung, Friedrich Nietzsche. And one more thing, I really want to do my best in this podcast is to never conflate the idea of objective truth with what I believe to be true. And I'll kind of give you an example of how that can play out. So, say you have a liberal-minded person and a conservative-minded person, and they both watch the same piece of video footage. Now, there's an objective truth in that video footage, and that objective truth is exactly what was said. And then there's what I believe to be true based on seeing that evidence. And the liberal-minded person might come to a completely different conclusion than I do. And they might say what I believe to be true is X. And I might say what I believe to be true is Y, based on the same piece of evidence. There is an objective truth, and then there's subjective, or what we believe to be true. And I think that's mostly where the division lies in everything that we see going on. People they believe what they want to believe based on what they've seen. And it's not always necessarily the right conclusion that they draw. And the more we talk to each other about those conclusions, the better off we are. Because I might be wrong and stupid. You might be wrong and stupid. But if we don't talk to each other, we'll never know. That's kind of what I want to accomplish with this podcast, is just being able to talk, have a good conversation back and forth about objective truth and what we actually believe about it. And I want to do that on a whole wide-ranging set of topics. I don't want it to just be about politics. I want it to be about much more than that. Because politics can seek to divide us, or it can unite us. Mostly it's probably going to divide us, but there are other things non-political related that do bind us together. And I would say for the most part, we think we're divided, but we're not as divided as we really believe we are. There's a lot of things that do hold over, and there's a very large centrist, I would say, line of thinking here in America that nobody talks about because nobody knows exists. If you only get on Twitter, you see the 15% on one side and the 15% on the other side. And it's just all madness and craziness. But I don't think that that's really where we are as a nation. I think there's plenty of things that hold us together, things that people don't like talking about, or things that we forget to talk about because we're just like, yeah, we know, I get it, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. We don't stop and discuss those things that keep us together. We only want to discuss the things that might divide us. And that's one thing I refuse to do, is have those sorts of discussions. I won't be that way as far as I can help. And if I record a podcast and it seems like I'm being that way, I'll just delete it. I won't upload it for the week. Thank you for listening to the ramblings there. Let me know if you want to keep this format where I just record these short bursts in the truck and upload them once or twice a week, or what else you might want to change about it. Thanks, and I'll catch you next time.